What's up? What's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Ryan James Miller here, and I am pumped to share with you AI, friend or foe. As a sales professional, is artificial intelligence a friend or a foe to you? This is something that has been now being questioned, discussed over and over and over again across our entire world. We have to question whether or not AI is a good thing. And there's a lot of arguments around whether or not artificial intelligence is here for good or for evil. And there may be a lot of ways that AI is not good. There may be a lot of things to fear with AI. But as a sales professional, artificial intelligence will help you to sell smarter. And that doesn't always mean that it's going to increase your IQ, though it will actually probably do that. But when I talk about selling smarter, what I'm talking about is you have an opportunity to leverage tools that are going to help you increase your opportunities to sell. One of the main challenges that I hear salespeople complain about is that they don't have enough time. Well, one of the things that artificial intelligence, AI, can do for you is to cut down the time you are spending on administrative tasks that are preventing you from being in front of more of your ideal clients, closing more of your prime deals. And so that's what I want to address over the course of the next 30 minutes or so. If you are tuning in from LinkedIn, welcome. YouTube, welcome. X, welcome. This will all also be available most likely on replay later on. And so you may find it on another platform. But again, Ryan James Miller here. We're talking about selling smarter. And I want to address artificial intelligence and how it can help you to sell smarter. This is not your foe. AI is your friend. If you have a question, if you have something that you want to share, that you want to talk about, that you want to address, please make sure that you share it here. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear more about what you're working on, what you're going with, what your question challenges are. There's just a lot to consider. So again, make sure that you drop those in. I'll try and pay attention to the chat from time to time to ensure that I am addressing those questions. Okay, we are going to dive in. So, what I promised for those of you that saw this ahead of time was this was going to get super practical. I'm not here to just share a bunch of theory with you. I am here to get practical. We are going to walk through two specific tools that I believe are going to be extremely beneficial for you as a sales professional. So, let me get my stuff going here real quick. I want to make sure that I've got all of the resources. Again, if you've got a question, if you've got a thought, if you've got a concern, weigh in. I would love for you to say, hey, I'm here. What's up? Again, whether you're on YouTube, you're on LinkedIn, you're on X, or heck, maybe it found its way somewhere else and I don't even know about that. But welcome. Thanks for being here. So let's dig into artificial intelligence and how it is going to benefit you as a sales professional. Oh, I love this. I'm already seeing one. McNerlin, what's up, my man? Welcome in to this amazing 35 minutes that I've got for you. So Andrew asks the question of how can you incorporate AI into outreach and make it authentic? You can see on my back wall here, be authentic. That's a big thing for me. And I want to encourage you that you can make this authentic. You can make this sound like you. And as a matter of fact, this can be like you. You just have to know how to interact with the platform that you're engaging with. And I'm going to do that today, particularly as we dial into ChatGPT, because if most people I see are using ChatGPT like a robot, and we do not want to treat it like a robot. We want to treat it like a resource, an individual that's sitting with us, a specialist, an expert that is sitting with us. So we're going to do that. So thanks so much for that question. I'm going to make sure to address that. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to dig in. I'm going to open up what I believe is the first tool. And so There's going to be some things that I believe are, well, all of this is optional, by the way. You can use whatever you want. You cannot use whatever you want. You can be afraid for the rest of your life for all you care or for all I care. That's totally up to you. But there are some things that I believe are an absolute necessity in the day that we live in. And the first one is an AI note taker. So if you, I don't know, rewind 50 years before the internet, before modern technology was available, there was no cell phones. There was nothing in regards to the beneficial technology that we have today. And yet, successful and often wealthy individuals back then did not take their own notes. There was two ways that individuals, successful individuals, business professionals, took notes in meetings, took notes on calls. And those two ways were either an audio recorder that they would just set down, oftentimes ask permission. They wouldn't do it secretly, but they would ask permission. They would press record and it would record the whole meeting. And then somebody would go back afterwards, often not them, would go back afterwards and transcribe sometimes that whole thing, sometimes only important moments from it. But they would record the audio and then they would have it transcribed. Or they would have an assistant or somebody else from their team sit in and take notes on their behalf. Why? Well, one of the main reasons is because we don't do well to retain information while we're listening to the information. And when we're taking notes, as much as you think that you are a professional multitasker, science proves that it is impossible for us to do two things at once. Now, some of us may be quicker in interacting between listening and taking a note and listening, but you know as well as I do that oftentimes when you take a note, you stop listening. You can't pay instant attention. And so I do take notes. As a matter of fact, I have a little notepad that sits here on my desk and I do take notes. But normally that's kind of more of timestamp stuff. But they would have somebody that would sit and take notes on their behalf. And yet today, we're relying on ourselves completely to take our notes, or up until today. But hopefully, after today, you have incorporated a tool that I believe is going to change your world. And that is an AI note taker. Now, I use a tool called Otter, Otter, otter.ai. I'm going to share after in follow up for anybody that wants the recording for this, anybody that wants more information. You can email ryan@ryanjamesmiller.com, and I'm going to share a host of resources. I will also share this in a follow-up comment on LinkedIn. I will share this in the show notes for the LinkedIn Live video. But Otter AI has become my best friend on virtual meetings. It plugs in to Zoom. It plugs into Microsoft Teams. It plugs into Google Meet. And it's integrated right into all of your meetings. And if you've been on a meeting with me, you've seen Otter there, Ryan's AI Autopilot or Ryan's Autopilot. He's there all the time. And he's become my best friend. It is taking moment by moment notes of every single word that is coming out of my mouth and the mouths of everybody else that's on the call. What's incredible is if you tee it up ahead of time with the people that are going to be on the call, it will detect who's on the call and it will create that conversation. So check this out. I'm going to show you something that a meeting that I had just recently, and how you can utilize something like this for yourself. And I'm going to show you a couple of the different ways that Otter specifically. There's other ones out there. There's, I think, something called ReadMe. There's quite a few other ones, but but Otter, I believe, is the best one. And I'm going to show you a couple of use cases for why I think that is in fact true. So let me share my screen with you. Oh, let's go here and do this. Okay, so you should be seeing my screen right now. And that screen shows a meeting I had with an individual. And that meeting, or Otter transcribed that entire meeting. And so if you can see, that entire meeting is here. Every single word, every single thing that we discussed, every single thing that we talked about. If you cannot see my screen, by the way, please let me know. Pop into the comments on LinkedIn or on YouTube and let me know whether or not you can see that on the or that share. So, what you'll see here is a full transcription, and it goes word for word through this entire transcription of. Let me make sure that I'm sharing the right screen here. I think that there was an error. All right, hold on a minute. I hear that there's an error, so let me fix this again. Let's try this one more time. Modern technology at its finest. Let's try this. How about there? Can you see it? You guys seeing my screen now? I'm going to wait just a minute here before, just so I can make sure that you guys are seeing it. So if you can comment yes or no, I'm seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I just want to give pause. I saw quite a few not seeing it just a minute ago, but I want to wait for you guys to pop in and let me know whether or not you can see it. Oh, maybe this is why. Ha ha! There we go. Okay, now you're seeing it. Now I know you're seeing it. Don't say no. Now it's there. Check it out. Now, awkward pause. If you were in the crowd, you would just be nodding to me. Awesome. Now we can see it. Megan, Paul, Andrew, thank you. Okay, here we go. I had the wrong thing toggled. Okay, so what you can see here is it has an entire transcription of my whole call. It's incredible, right? I mean, look at what is available to us in this transcription. Every single word that's being stated is all here. It's just so powerful. And so what does this do? Well, this does something even more powerful than that. And let me show you this. More than just word for word, it shares a summary, and it shares an overall summary of the discussion that I had. It shares action items that we have discussed. It brings up its own insights, including issues and risks, next steps that we discussed, questions that we discussed. It is an incredibly powerful tool. Just so powerful. I mean, you're seeing my personal information right here. You're welcome. And so, as you can see, this is an incredibly powerful resource that is available to us. And so, you need to have some kind of professional transcription service that's following along with you, taking notes on your behalf. And I'm going to show you exactly why in just a second. But I really want to plead this case. And I know that there was some technical difficulty getting going, but I want you to understand that this is a way for us to ensure that we get every bit of information from every single meeting that we are having. And that's what we're after. We're trying to capture everything that our clients are sharing with us, everything that our clients are talking to us about. And so that is all there. And you may be saying to yourself, well, Ryan, what's the benefit of just taking a whole bunch of notes? Well, when I want to hone in on key insights, maybe I want to know every single time that that prospect on the call, that the client on the call mentioned an issue. They had some kind of question, like even inside of Otter. Actually, I'm going to show you something again because I think this is super powerful and I don't even use it for this typically, but I'm going to share something with you that I think is super duper powerful. So let's go back. Let's pop my screen back open. We're going to go to that screen real quick and I'm going to show you something. So from here, I can now go over into just Otter, just in the chat, and I can say, show me any moment we discussed a potential issue to be solved. Otter will do its thing. And it brings up information that quickly. So that's one way that you can quickly use Otter to detect challenges, opportunities. If you want to know every time they said the word competitor, every time they said the word need, every time that they asked a question related to one of your products or services, you could ask Otter right inside of Otter. But that's not all. I feel like in addition to note taking and all the things that can be done there, there's one thing that jams us up a lot, and it's our follow up. After we have an initial discussion with a prospect, and by the way, Tim DeWolf, I'm going to get to your question in just a second, so just hang tight there. But I saw your question and I do want to address it. So um, after our meetings, we should be sending follow-ups right away. Like I was talking to a client the other day and she was saying that her follow-ups are the bane of her existence because she runs a bunch of meetings all throughout the day and she's trying to keep up with them, but then eventually she can't keep up with them anymore. And so she leaves them all to the end of the day, and then she can't get to them all at the end of the day. And so then she leaves them to the end of the week. And before long, she realizes that she hasn't followed up with the prospect that she talked to 4 days ago. I mean, that is not a good way to get off on the right foot, is it? Absolutely not. And so, what do we do? Well, I'm going to show you what we can do. So, from that transcription that I got from Otter, I'm going to do a couple things behind the scenes, but I'm going to show you how quickly this can work. So, I can export, and again, I'm doing this behind the scenes. You won't see this, but I'm going to show you as we move into Chat GPT for a second here. So, let's do this. So let's share my screen again. We're going to open up Chat GPT. So you're all seeing my Chat GPT screen. I'm sure you are here. And here's what I would do is I would say, write an email recap to Zach, highlighting the most important takeaways from our meeting. Make sure to include any action items from either of us. And then I go like this, and then I paste that entire transcription in there. Oops, you can't see this yet. Okay, there we go. So in ChatGPT, I wrote, write an email recap to Zach, highlighting the most important takeaways from our meeting. Make sure to include any action items from either of us. And then I copy the entire transcription, every single word in there, and I go and hit enter. And you're going to watch live as ChatGPT writes an email recap to Zach. I mean, some of these are funny. I don't even know what this is. But look at this. In seconds, it just wrote what would have taken me 5 minutes to put together. And now to Andrew McNerlin's point from earlier, Andrew says, um, is that me? Is that authentic? So what I do with this is I take that answer, again, this answer right here, I'll pop my screen back open. So I take this answer that ChatGPT gave me, it wrote the entire email, right here. I copy this just down to here. I copy this, I paste it into the body of an email, and then I make it my own. And maybe it takes me another 1 to 2 minutes to polish up that recap email that ChatGPT shared with me, that ChatGPT gave to me. If on your calls, you're sharing a specific idea or an opportunity, maybe you're sharing a specific strategy and you want to break that strategy down in your recap, you can ask ChatGPT to do that. Watch this. So you should be seeing my screen now, which I know you are. Now I say, were there any strategies? And this one may be a no because I don't remember this call. And let's see what ChatGPT says. Yes, we discussed several strategies. Look at this. It reminded me of the strategies that we talked about. And here's what's crazy, you guys, is I'm trying to find if I can get one that would be um there's nothing that I could do this to very quickly, but okay, so here's a good one. So then I go, okay, so regularly ask for introductions and connections from influential contexts. By the way, hopefully you guys are seeing this now. I think you are. But from here, I could say, okay, how can I improve my ability to copy this in? Regularly ask for introductions and connections from influential networks to expand. Boom. I mean, look at this. It's giving me an example of an email request to reach out to make connections with new people. I mean, you guys, this is the game. Like think about that. I had a powerful discussion that I was able to transcribe completely without even thinking about it. I was able to copy that transcription, paste it into ChatGPT, get an email recap from ChatGPT, polish it up and send it off to the person that I met with, and then dig deeper into a strategy that we discussed, and then, or into the strategies we discussed, and then have ChatGPT help me to start considering how to execute on that strategy. I mean, this is gold. This is absolute gold. But you got to be using it like this. And it starts again in this regard with using an AI note-taking service. This is not what this entire discussion is about, but this is a big part of what I wanted to talk about because this is what's taking so much of your time is you're having lots of virtual meetings, which is totally fine to do, but then you're having to process that information. You're having to recap that information. You're having to take action on that information. This is a fantastic way to speed up that process and cut your follow-up administrative time by a significant amount. Yes, and so Tim, by the way, says that, ChatGPT writes a good email, but they're really long responses that need to be trimmed down a bit. You're absolutely right. And so there's some things that you can do simply, which is to ask it to literally cut the response in half, but also the better you get about working with ChatGPT, you will start to create requests that you can ask over and over again. And so you could say, limit this response to 120 words. I want you to be specific about addressing key one, key two, key three. The more specific that you ask it questions, the more specific responses that it's going to give you. By the way, Tim, because I didn't forget, so Tim had asked earlier, Otter has a free option and a premium option. So the free option's great. The premium option does offer some additional resources as well as a much larger bank of recording time. And I believe for most of you, you're going to need that. It is absolutely worth it. I pay for the premium service. This is a small fraction of a cost for a significant benefit to us as sales professionals. So I think that this is something that you should all be considering leveraging. Okay, I want to show you one other benefit to Otter before we move on. No, you know what? Actually, I'm going to skip that. We'll come back to that if we have some more time. Okay, next. I want to talk to you about email responses. So if we were all together, you would probably all raise your hand and say, I get way too many emails and I don't like to read through them all. Now, I could not find an email that was going to be appropriate for me to share with you all, but because I didn't want to share private client information. But one thing that I'm using ChatGPT for a lot is to read emails and create initial responses. And yes, Andrew, if you're nicer to ChatGPT, it'll probably be nicer to you. But I'm using ChatGPT to write email responses to my prospects, to my clients. Now, again, I am not writing the response, or I'm not having it write the response and then go from there. So check this out. I'm actually going to do this with one. So I send out an email newsletter. And I recently sent out an email newsletter to a whole bunch of people. Is that a word? A whole bunch? A whole bunch of people. So check this out. I'm going to share my screen with you again, and I'm going to show you how we can analyze something. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen with you. We're back in ChatGPT. I'm going to open a new window because I don't want to convolute it with the one that was just there. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now. So I'm back in ChatGPT, and I'm going to say I received this email. And so this email was, let me see the context of this email that I just sent out to a bunch of people. So it was about how to increase sales through lead generation. And so maybe I want to say um, I would like to extract main points that will help me improve my sales. Oops. I paste the entire email into here. And I go, and ChatGPT gives me high level points. That quickly. That simply. And now I can just go through here and say, oh, yep, I'm facing a struggle with content creation. Oh, customized strategy. I wonder what that would look like. So I can recap some of these emails by having AI help me to parse through a lot of this information that I'm getting. It's going to be far easier for me and far more efficient for me to have somebody else skim through so much of this stuff without me having to think about it. One email that I wish I could share with you, but I can't, was just last week. I had a client that was working with a prospect, and the prospect or my client was very, very persistent with this prospect. And it took 5 or 6 outbound emails to convince the prospect to finally cry uncle and take an appointment with my client. And they're in the EB space. And I had ChatGPT psychoanalyze the entire email. I copied and pasted the entire email into ChatGPT. And I asked ChatGPT, I said, the prospect went from being very opposed to scheduling a meeting to eventually crying uncle and accepting the meeting. Analyze this conversation to determine why you believe they changed their mind. And it gave me a breakdown. And then I said, now I want you to rewrite the initial email so we can get to the result we're after, which is a scheduled appointment, without having to go back and forth 5 or 6 times. And it wrote out multiple suggestions for me. And so I'm using ChatGPT to scan emails for all different types of things to learn. I mean, when you get a rejection back from a prospect, copy and paste it into ChatGPT. Let ChatGPT know what you're trying to accomplish, to schedule a meeting, to close a deal, to overcome a specific rejection, and let it help guide you through. While ChatGPT is not going to provide intuition, it is going to provide a lot of great information based upon all of the data that it has inside of itself. So it can be extremely beneficial for you. So automated email responses. Okay, another thing that I think is a big time suck for you all is content creation, particularly on social media, LinkedIn, because I know that's where a lot of you guys are. And so I have seen a lot of the mistakes of people trying to use AI to create posts on LinkedIn. It's plain as day that AI is creating a lot of people's posts now. It uses certain words, it formats things certain ways. It is what it is. And so I would not recommend you using it to create a post from nothing to something. But here is something that I'm going to show you. And so, Megan, I don't know how to say your last name, Megan, but I would love for you to pop in the chat and let me know what your position is in the organization you work for. I would love to try something right on the fly with you. And so, Megan, if you're still on, if you're listening, if not, I'm going to call on somebody else. But Megan, if you're listening right now, I would love for you to pop into the chat and just in a line or two, let me know your role and the organization you're in, and maybe even just what you do. And so, why don't you do that? We're all going to wait on you. Megan, are you there? Cunin. There it is. Health outcomes consultant. Okay. You need to, what organization do you work for, Megan? This is fun. We're all waiting on Megan. Super awesome. I could go stalk her on LinkedIn real quick too. That would be probably pretty fun. Let's do it. Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. Watch this. So she's here now. She got us going where we needed to be. I don't need myself anymore. The pressure is on. I love that, Megan. Okay. So she is a health outcomes consultant and she works for Health Check 360. So here we go. You guys are all going to do this with me on the fly. Look at how fun is this going to be. Okay, so I am a, my client. I got to go back and make sure I spell your name right, Megan. That'd be bad. Is a health outcomes consultant for Health Check 360. Okay. What do you know about that company? Megan, is what you're seeing pop up on my screen correct in terms of like, is that your organization right there? I know it's awkward while we're waiting. And there's a slight delay between the platforms because we're live. Perfect. Okay, she says yes. Okay, here we go. Watch this. Megan would like ideas on how to create valuable educational content to convince more brokers benefits brokers that they should take an appointment with her and consider working with her and her firm. Like I knows how to create educational content. We're going to put in here for LinkedIn. Can you list out 20 ideas? We're doing this on the fly. Okay. From here, I've already come up with, which this is still very generic, but case studies, industry insights, expert interviews. And so now if I'm Megan, I'm like, okay, so now I have all these potential ideas. And so now I want to say, okay, so let's take this one. And so I say, create 3 specific post outlines for this. Are you guys at all impressed? I mean, this isn't even my product, but I think this is pretty cool. And here's the thing, this is back to Andrew's point, and this is something that you probably all want to be thinking about is nobody in their right mind copies and pastes this and posts it to LinkedIn. But where so many of you are getting stuck is around ideas. You're struggling to figure out what to come up with. And so I would look at this and I would even just go back to the first one. And again, not that this is the best one or whatever, but I'm like, okay, so now that I have a guideline, this here, now I know what to write about. And I could watch this. So I could say even one of the things that you guys may know is when I coach solutions providers, one of the things I tell them is your greatest value proposition to a broker is to help them go win new business. And so I would say, how can this post be written in order to demonstrate my ability to help prospective brokers win new business with employers? I don't know if I asked that right, but, and then I copy the post that I was going to use. So now I want to I don't just want to talk about the post or I don't want to just generically share about it. Now I want to get into a little bit more detail and I want to write the post in such a way that demonstrates that I can help a broker win new business with something like this, with this topic, with this idea, with this strategy. So it opens up managing stress, crucial for maintaining productivity and overall well-being in the workplace. By implementing these things, happier employees, healthier employees, more productive work environment. It shifts and it even offers you, brokers, share these stress management tips with your clients to demonstrate your commitment to their success and the well-being of their employees. Look at this. It even gives a sample of a LinkedIn post here. And I could take this, I could copy this, I could paste it into a document, and then I can just simply rewrite it for myself. And so what I want you guys to see here is this is not about writing on your behalf. This is about going from, and we could get in way more detail here, but I literally just shared her name, the title she likes to go by, and the organization she works for. I will usually add in a lot more information there. It shared, ChatGPT did, information about Megan's company. And then I started asking it, just create some ideas around content that I can create. And then I said, great, now create 3 specific posts for just one of those ideas. And it busted those out. Like if you guys had this in your workflow, think of how much more content you could produce, content that you could write yourself authentically, but valuable content. So you could be showing up a lot more consistently on social media. The problem is most of you are getting stuck because you don't know what to say and you don't have a workflow in place to create what you need to say. And so AI, by way here of ChatGPT, and by the way, I use the premium version. It's $20 a month. I think everything is $20 a month. It is so worth it. It is so worth it. But we have to use it. We have to use it in ways that are going to be beneficial to us. We have to create workflows around it. These are things that my organization does for some of our clients. Is we help to create these workflows. We help to build these prompts. So that way you can go leverage them. I mean, we do some of this for our clients on their behalf, but more often than not, we're doing it with them. We're helping to create the strategy and the workflow and the execution so then they can go out and do it on a consistent basis. But this can cut creation time, production time significantly. So again, we're getting what we need and we're getting it a lot more quickly. Okay. Another thing, and since we're working with Megan here and she didn't even know that she was going to be a key feature here. So another thing that you can use Chat GPT specifically for, or whatever your, Gemini or whatever your preferred AI resource is. And you can use this to create or recreate sales scripts. So let's see if this works. So I'm going to go back to the same one because we already found some stuff about Megan and Health Check 360. So what is Health Check 360's value proposition? I should have asked Megan this, but we don't want to put her on the spot and take that long. Okay. I should get paid for this. This is an advertising spot and it didn't even need to be. Let's see here. Oops, I didn't share my screen yet. I keep doing that. Okay, so I asked it, what is Health Check 360's value proposition? ChatGPT spit it out. And just go with me here for a second. So this value proposition is going to extract information. You could have pasted this in here and started from there, or it went out to the internet. It pulled it off of everything that it could gather from probably Health Check 360's website and anything else that's out there. But it talks about their customized wellness program, data-driven insights, technology integration, da, 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 da. That's a lot of stuff. And I know nobody's going to rattle that off. But what I want to do is I want to turn this into something that the client will value. So if I'm Megan and I'm a solutions provider and I'm selling to a broker, I want to demonstrate why this is valuable to the broker. And so watch this. So I take all this stuff, either I've pasted this in there because I just pulled it off of a website, or ChatGPT went and found it for me. And I say, how can this be positioned to show value to the broker and not to make it all about Megan and Health Check 360? Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to reposition my value proposition statement to be less about me and more about my client. It's what I said here. It's crucial to focus on how these benefits translate into opportunities for brokers to win new business and strengthen relationship with their clients. We'll all agree that this is the two most important things that solutions providers provide. If you're a broker, by the way, and you're listening to this, your responsibility is to show how much your service as a broker is valuable to the employer. It's not how great you are. It's how great your services can be for the employer that you're trying to work with. And so look at this. So here's a problem with this, and this is why I would have started all over, is it took some of our content creation from earlier and it redid it. So here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to take all this. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to paste this into a new chat just for the sake of this. Health Check 360 value proposition is, I pasted the entire value proposition in. And then at the bottom, I'm going to say, how can this be positioned to show the value to the broker? So again, I kind of restarted this, but it was getting too much in the way. So this turned this around. It turned Health Check 360's value proposition around and made it more about the broker. By partnering with, brokers can enhance. Brokers' advanced data can provide brokers, or Health Check 360's advanced data analytics provides brokers with. You guys, this works the same for your organization. And from here, now I'm trying to get even more narrow. And this is all about leveraging AI to help us become an expert in how to communicate with our prospects. And so now I want to say, write an email script to a prospective broker using the info above to try and schedule an initial intro meeting. Now, to Tim's part, this was too long, right? You'd probably not send this initially. But what I would say is that is too long. Make it shorter and more impactful. It even takes my misspellings. And so there's a lot more we can do with this, but what I want to show you guys, what I'm trying to show you guys out of the gate is I took a generic value proposition that was out on a website, which you can do this with yours. I want to turn this into something that will show value to the client or prospect that I'm trying to work with. It's going to extract all that information. So again, I can use each of these position statements. What I would actually do if I was in your shoes is I would write an email outreach based on each one of these. I would first try and get my appointment off of this one. Then I would move on to this one. Then I would move on to this one. Then I would, right? One by one. So we can improve our language, our outreach strategies, having this resource available to us. We just have to engage it and talk to it like we would talk to anybody else that was helping us. And watch this. My prospects' biggest objection is that they don't have the time to meet with me. How can I overcome that? Oops, Megan's prospects' biggest objection, oh, we'll just say that, is that they don't have time to meet with her. Are we still sharing screen? We're still sharing screen. How can she overcome that? I want to make sure it's all about her. I mean, just the difference, even if you know this in your head, just the difference in having ChatGPT start this for you versus you typing it out saves you 3, 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time. Think about how many of these you're doing, hopefully on a regular basis in your outreach, and how quickly you could cut down on this time. It's incredible. There's so much benefit to this, but you have to be considerate of how you're going to utilize it and then have a system in place to utilize it. And since we are on the Check 360 and Megan case study or live study as we go, I'm going to finish off with one of the last tips that I believe is going to be extremely beneficial to you. And we're going to do more of these, but I'm trying to give you some simple, practical guidelines or options to engage in ChatGPT and AI to help improve your sales efforts. So the last one is this, is you don't often know how you stack up against your competitors. Now, if I had the time, I would ask Megan who her top competitors are, but I'm going to do it a different way. So I'm going to go back up here. And I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Oh, no, you know what? I'm going to try this from. I'm going to try this from this one and see if this works. Who are Health Check 360's biggest competitors? This is going to be fun. And I have a method to this madness, by the way, so just sit tight here for a second. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is understanding, you probably already know your competitors. These may or may not be your competitors at Health Check 360, but I just want to show you something that's going to be extremely helpful for you as you continue to go up against competitors in the marketplace. So what I want to do is I'm going to say, can you create a simple SWOT analysis for Health Check 360 against their competitors? I may have opened a can of worms, but let's just see what happens here. What I just did here, very simply, again, leveraging AI, is I was able to go out into the marketplace and do a simple SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, to understand how, if I am Megan, how I am comparing against other people in the marketplace. We all think we're the best. And whether or not you are doesn't really matter. What really matters for the sake of this conversation, is perception. And some of the things that we have to understand are things like this: is may not be as well known as larger competitors, which can impact market penetration. And so what I may say is how does Megan overcome this? For all of you regional insurance brokers, this is one you have to consider when you're up against national firms. I mean, this is incredible, you guys. This is tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in consulting that you're gaining by just learning how to leverage AI for simple benefit. And you could do that for every single threat that's out there. But this is going to give me an opportunity. If I get a pushback from one of my prospects, you're welcome, Megan. If I get a pushback from one of my prospects on the fact that I don't have the same name, like I just had a broker client of mine that just lost an incredible opportunity to a national firm because the stupid prospect thought that the national firm was better because their shingle was bigger. And I knew both parties involved, and I knew what was going on. And it was a huge mistake that client made by going with the big national firm. But there were ways that messaging could have been positioned ahead of time to change the story. Because for all of you that are competing, I'm gonna kill my screen here. For all of you, and we're about to wind down. For all of you that are competing in RFPs, you are rarely, if ever, going to win against firms bigger than you, because they just have shinier objects. And that's why RFPs are so stupid, is because they are showcasing the wrong things. But there are ways to reposition our messaging to highlight the things that matter most to the people that we want to work with. So, nope, Deanna, that wasn't you. Oh, but it could have been you, Deanna. Same thing applies for you guys. That was a poor decision on the part of your prospect. Oh man, it was another one that came to mind. So sad. Look at this, happens a lot. Anyway, I digress from that conversation, but I'm angry for you too, Diana. Damn it. Here's what I want to say, guys. Just quick recap. Every single sales professional should be running every virtual meeting that they have with an AI note taker. I recommend otter.ai. I actually have a link that I can send you for a free 30-day trial. I think it's a 30-day trial. It's for free for their pro version. It's incredible. You're making a mistake by not attaching that to every single one of your meetings. So that's number one. Number two is start leveraging AI. So that would be something like Otter coupled with ChatGPT to recap your meetings. You can fire them off right after your meeting and you can move on to the next thing. You need to get information into your prospects' hands immediately. And if you don't do that, every second that you wait is a second that emotional high they were on when they talked to you starts to diminish. Number three, automated email responses, or at least scraped email responses. Allow AI to read your emails for you, to do a quick breeze through and understand where you really need to pay attention to and how you need to respond. Number 4, content creation for social media. You all need to be showing up on social media. You have incredible opportunities to build brand awareness, to show people who you are and what you're all about. But time is not on your side. And some of you just aren't as creative as you would want to be. And so let AI help you. Don't let it finish off the work for you. You be the one that finishes off. So back to Andrew McNerlin's point, it's you. But have it create ideas. Start your outlines. Shoot, have it write the first draft and then you just polish it up. Make it your own, but leverage AI in creating content. Number 5, sales scripts, value proposition refinement. That stuff is incredibly important. I cannot tell you the number of salespeople that I work with, organizations that I work with that have garbage value propositions. I don't care, and the prospect doesn't care how great you think you are or how great you may be. What they care about is how great you can be for them. And so you can leverage AI to reword what you're trying to communicate to them to make sure you're always making it about them. And finally, the last thing that I shared here was to do competitor analysis. It's easy to run SWOT analysis against your competition to understand who you're up against and what you're doing. There's a lot of other things that you can be using AI for that I couldn't get into today, but I definitely want to, and I'd be more than happy to share in some of these webinars and things in the future. But hopefully I've made the case for the fact that AI is your friend. You can sell smarter by leveraging tools like Otter, like ChatGPT. I don't benefit from doing this. I just believe that this is an absolute necessity. I'm talking about this in my sales community all the time. If you're a benefits professional and you're in sales, you should definitely be a part of our weekly sales call. It's an incredible opportunity. It's $200 a month. I think it's the cheapest thing you could possibly do to better yourself in sales. We've got some powerful minds in there collaborating around these things. We're talking about AI a lot and how to leverage it amongst a lot of other things. So if you need help in this area, if you need support, I am here to do what I can. Ryan@ryanjamesmiller.com. You can email me. If you would like follow-up information on any of this, if you have a specific question that wasn't addressed, feel free to email me and I'll do my best to respond in the time that I can. It won't be AI. It will be me, but I would love to help you. And by the way, the last thing I'm going to give you as a bonus tip is this. This entire webinar that I've recorded, I shared 6 different strategies to help you leverage AI. What do you think I'm going to do with it? I'm going to take this video transcription, I'm going to put it into ChatGPT, and I'm going to have ChatGPT help me create a guide to 6 ways you can leverage AI to sell smarter. And then I'm going to have ChatGPT help me create 1, maybe all 6 points in some social media posts for the future. So I just taught a 1-hour webinar, and it's going to turn into a multitude of content resources for me, a lead magnet, other valuable assets that ChatGPT or AI is helping me with, even though I created the first thing. So there's a lot of incredible opportunities out here. There's a lot more to it, but I would say start here. Start simple. Talk to it like a human being. Don't talk to it like a robot. If you're not getting what you want out of it, learn how to get what you want out of it, because you will begin to be outpaced by people that are leveraging it to their benefit and to the success for them and for their clients. So with that, thank you guys so much for dealing with some of the technical hiccups that were happening in screen share early on. Hopefully the quality was good enough for you guys with video and audio. I appreciate you spending the time to be here, for jumping in on LinkedIn, YouTube, X. Super fun to be able to do these things. We'll be doing more of these in the future. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all. I'm here for you if you need anything. If not, get out there and get after it. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.